Hello, everybody, and
Oh,
welcome.
Hey, Orion Wish is available. Can we play that? Oh.
Sorry, Theo, not today. Welcome, everybody, to Gears 5 on the Xbox One.
Oh, boy.
Well, and look at that, guys. Kait is sticking central stage there. I wonder if that's a sign for something.
I would recommend that. It's a very involved cover than having Kait just staring with the Lancer in
Still here.
Also, Pedro, didn't that woman in the helmet to the left of Kait look rather familiar?
Yes, for those who don't remember, everybody, that's the Locust Queen who was killed by Marcus at the end of Gears of War 3. What the hell is she doing in the cover of this game?
I have flashback scenes with her.
No.
So let me just...
Surprisingly not, too.
Also, what was this ice theme for the logos?
Because the second act is going to be entirely placing in the Arctics too.
Interesting choice.
We're going to go brutally on this, but yeah, I'll start this by saying something positive. For all their faults, Microsoft do a good job of containing the past and making it more accessible to players here and there.
Well, that's cool, I guess.
Asking for something positive about this game?
Well, that's the thing.
Hey, look.
That's the thing, Jova. They used to. The problem is that we haven't received a new game addition to the backwards compatibility library since 2019. Nearly 2 years at this point. I'm wondering.
I think Jova was also making a jab at another company.
Well, I know, I get that, but
Also, what? What were you expecting something positive about this game directly? No.
It looks pretty, I guess.
The ice was a sign of the reception it would
get. Yeah. This is just the opening menu screen. I'll let you wait and see the actual game in act. Okay, technically it is.
Well, I'm looking at its model, I guess.
In HD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, let's take a. By the way,
with those hair physics.
So yeah, being made by modern Microsoft, this game is full of microtransactions and games as a service-like elements. There's various weekly events and stuff like that. Operation One bundle, $17 and $19. There you go. So basically.
Oh boy, Armored Baird, a character skin for $17.99.
Yes, they sell. Yes, the skin purchases. That's okay, Joe. You can buy them with just in-game currency, specifically hero points. So let's see what challenges you can do. Craft the bear token. I don't know what that is. So earn 60,000 XP playing versus Horde or Escape with the bear totem equipped. Lobotomized. And okay, keep in mind I haven't actually played the multiplayer, so I don't know how, but I've been told by people who have that these challenges, for the sake of getting points to unlock the skin, normally are very, and I do mean incredibly, grindy. So basically it's like this.
Yeah.
You either pay real money for the skin, or you have to spend hours grinding in the multiplayer for XP or other shit, just so you can unlock one measly skin.
Hey,
Who's
you can
break
also
first, the corporation or you?
For the record, Shiroi, one of the most famous animations in Gears of War multiplayer is the curb stomp. What is the curb stomp? Is when you literally stomp your enemy's head and make it explode. In the original trilogy, this came with the game. In this game, you have to pay $7 for it, so you can use it.
Hey, but guys, there's also an unlockable character in the shop here that you can get. The first ever female Carmine, Lizzie.
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Yes, we'll meet her in the story. And there you go. You can play as General Rom in the multiplayer. So, once again, 60,000 XP, survive 50 waves in 50 waves. Jesus. With the run total. Yeah, this is another thing, by the way. Yeah, this is another thing.
If you don't...
Did you notice that some of those challenges say with the Ram Totem equipped, meaning you have to craft the Ram Totem first before you can, so you have to do technically 2 challenges to unlock this stupid skin, or in this case, this character. Sorry. So basically, I just wanted to showcase what is the primary controversy regarding this game among the community: the terrible monetization in games as a service elements. Go ahead.
Actually, that's
players.
It's a microtransaction, isn't it?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Hold on. technically you don't have to pay. But, players, if the grind feels too much for you, just get out your wallets and that can easily make the problem go away.
It's
actually a question. Since these were actually recorded 1 year ago, has anything changed in terms of being getting worse or better on that front?
I haven't checked in a while too, if that helps you. But at the same time, I don't. I'm willing to bet that probably not much.
The reason for
If
that
at
being
all.
is like, well, the multiplayer has been all but abandoned on this game. Like, let me put things into perspective. Gears 1 through 3 have relatively, even the emotions get paid for, of course.
Yes, it's like
Actually, question: how much one costs? At least at this state.
the animations each cost $7 too, I think.
Technically, half than what a taunt cost in Team Fortress 2.
It's like if in the Demon's Souls remake you had to buy your animations, your emotes animations. Like seriously, whatever.
Oh no! Well. In that case, Microsoft and Bethesda are gonna be like two pigs in a bundle, because that is exactly the kind of thing that they would do.
Oh yes, because all the taunts were actually purchasable in Doom.
All right, let's start a new game.
Tio, you know I'm talking about Fallout, right?
Okay, so
I'm talking about another game, so don't generalize, Joe.
Okay, so we're playing.
Tio, it's a thing Bethesda normally do, regardless.
Yes, Pedro.
Anyway, Pedro.
We're still playing as JD, by the way. So congratulations, JD. You're still the protagonist.
Hey.
How long for?
Oh, no worries, Shiro. I'm sure. I mean, come on, Shiro. I mean, JD was established in the previous game as this new trilogy's protagonist. I'm sure he'll stick around. Clearly.
Sure.
So let us begin the merriment of Gears 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Everyone's favorite.
Yes, that's why Gears 1 for free are still played, whereas the multiplayer for this.
And for the record, everybody.
That you mentioned, Pedro.
Yes, I was going to say that. For the record, everybody, we're not pulling this out of our asses. If you can literally go on Microsoft's website and check top 50 played games on Xbox, and Gears of War 5 is around the 40s. In last time I checked, at least. I haven't checked in a while, to be fair. But the point is, this game is not exact. The game's multiplayer is not. It's not exactly doing smash numbers. Let's put it that way.
All right, let's see. So for our opening credits here, we have.
Okay, if I want to give credit, I do enjoy this opening in terms of like the CGI is actually really good, and I mean in terms of being just an opening credits sequence, it actually does have some pretty neat imagery. So there's that. Cinematics director Greg Mitchell.
Ooh, genomes mutating. Not too different from the Resident Evil Outbreak opening.
The crystallization, I guess that's what happened.
Are we inside a monster or something?
Probably. That's the structure of a chimera. Nah, God, I forgot. I'm confusing with Resistance. Sorry, Locust.
I think we're more so supposed to see what happens when you know somebody becomes a Locust. Because remember, in Gears 4, well, remember, in Gears 4, essentially, they showed that they found a way to.
So you're probably wondering.
Locusts.
So probably wondering. So
imagery.
And it was just a nightmare she was having.
Oh.
Must get out of the womb. Must get out of the womb.
I'm not even gonna ask.
But don't you see, Shiroi?
Also,
she's tortured. That makes her interesting.
So, question. First of all, unless the game actually tells in the narration, how much time since the ending of 4 has passed?
That's the thing too. The game doesn't specify how long it's been. They do imply it's been at the very least a couple months, at least. But they don't give an exact number. But it's implied that it's like a couple months or so.
Also, checked in the meantime, it seems that the game is, at least by the time we're recording this, around between 25 and 30, alongside Sea of Thieves and the Master Chief Collection.
Sure.
But yeah, okay. To give one legit compliment, the graphics in this game do look better than the previous game, and I don't just mean it's upscaled. Or obviously looks better because it's on next-gen hardware. Well, at the time, next-gen hardware. But I will admit it does feel like they actually do try to balance out the coloring somewhat better.
Well, actually, Jova, the game was originally just made for the Xbox One and PC. The Series S and X versions came later. So technically, these visuals were optimized originally for the Xbox console and PC.
Well, that's why I said at the time next-gen tech.
At the time,
well,
more like current gen tech at the time. But I mean, 2019.
Oh. God, that's right. I keep forgetting. Gears 5 was supposed to come out closer to, the point where it was new, but it kept getting delayed to the point where, it came out.
Was it?
Never mind.
Oh, whatever. The point is... there we go.
Del, I'm fine, okay?
Sure you are.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Can we have a what-if scenario? What if Kait actually jumped? It would be an interesting twist.
Well, an ideal set piece would have been a sort of tutorial, having her QTing, grabbing the rope in time, I guess.
No, that would actually... I'll be okay with that, actually. Yeah, sure.
I wonder if there's a how it should have ended video about this.
There might be eventually, but yeah. But hey, look at that. I mean, we actually have a guy...
Act 1, Chapter 1. Shot in the dark.
I agree with Jova. Del is actually doing something productive for a change.
Well, actually, Del is actually going to do... remember, he's the tech guy of the group, and unlike in the previous game, he actually gets to show off his tech skills, unlike in the previous game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The best thing about 4 is that he was just staying there, doing not much.
My point, Pedro, is also that it would have been so easy for them to go, oh, you don't need to look out for me. I'm a grown girl. I can take care of myself. But no, he did actually have a legit reason to. Like,
sure.
Any lesser material probably would have gone the whole sexist route with that. So... I will give them credit where they don't do that.
Also, I checked, it only specified months, not a finite amount. Fair enough, I guess.
To be fair, it's not all that important for the story anyway. It's been a while, a short while, let's put it that way. Okay, so one major change. Dave, that's our new robot. He's named Dave. Don't worry, we'll get a proper Jack, a proper new Jack 2.0 later. And he has a sonar thingy that basically kind of works in that same way of the Batman detective mode thingy, or something like what Norman Jin has in Heavy Rain, something along those lines.
Or Droid ingesting pills.
Sure.
So, audience of ours who have only known Gears through our videos, you're probably wondering, so what's the conflict now, considering how Gears 4 didn't really seem to leave stuff clear for that?
The conflict has not actually happened yet. Right now we're kind of in prologue mode, where they're just going on a routine mission to shut down a reactor, basically.
Which is kind of weird, because last we had checked, they kind of were gearing up for a war with the Locust, but nah, it's just them dealing with this reactor thing. Like, I get why the story technically works like this, but for any newcomer player, they're probably confused.
Well, to be fair, who the hell goes into Gears 5 as a jumping on point?
No, Pedro. I mean, anyone who comes from Gears 4 to Gears 5 might be confused.
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Me neither, to be honest.
But some people might.
I guess. The point... Well, okay, so yeah, let's go on our routine mission. I mean, and don't get me wrong, yeah, it is nice that Del gets to finally show off his tech skills. He still doesn't have nearly as much of a cool, fun personality as Baird had.
Again, my main point is this, though.
Marcus, please.
It's okay, Teo. It's okay, Teo, actually, because basically, Dave you can aim with your usual aiming thing, and press X to have Jack fetch things for you, like ammo and other items. So basically, if something is far away, you can just ask Dave to go fetch it.
Pretty nifty. But yeah, my point is more so the fact that it feels weird that Gears 4 closed the way it did, yet Gears 5 is opening this way. Yeah, prologue or whatnot, but It feels like a weird thing to do, even if, of course, they are faking us out for this.
Okay, Jova, not knowing anything about the game, I get the idea that this mission has to be crucial. So it's something among like shutting down this reactor will, progress, not having the locust keep swarming again. And since the place doesn't seem to be inhabited for now, they can take their leisure instead of charging in guns blazing.
I will tell you this, Teo. The only primary impact this first mission will have on the rest of the plot is starting up a conflict between two characters.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. It doesn't really have much else to do.
It's a good thing it's a good thing there was electricity, I guess.
I know, right?
Stay back. We're coming down.
That could have fried you, but okay.
But yeah, to follow up on Jova's point, yes, it is true. Like the game actually does look the game actually does look pretty great visually.
Yeah.
I'm still not a big fan of Coalition's art direction for the series, but on its own merits, the game still looks great.
It does seem like they actually did listen to feedback about how Gears 4 may have been a little too saturated.
Well, I will agree that this game is not quite as saturated as Gears 4. It's still not enough for me.
Oh, I can agree with that. What I say is like, well, it does feel like they at least tried to mute the colors and balance things off.
I get it. Okay, continue to what I said in Gears 4. I guess it's supposed to represent the fact that the peaceful times are over and the locusts are returning, so the colors are getting less saturated as a result of that.
Sure.
Let me put it like this. It's like going from the Batman 60 show to Batman Forever. Yeah, there are still colorful stuff, but you can tell that it is going for a darker element than the former.
Boop.
And mind you, again, just cherish the stuff while I do have some positive things to say.
If you've played the Gears of War game before, you know exactly how the gameplay works. No need for me to explain this again. It's the same basic stuff. In fact, this is actually one of the primary criticisms a lot of critics and gamers that are not part of the Gears community necessarily, and even some members of the community itself, that argued that the Gears of War series has gotten to a point where the gameplay has gotten stale, in the sense that there hasn't really been any major innovations on the gameplay. Like it's getting to a point where if you've played a Gears of War game, you've played them all.
I mean, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Oh no! I agree with that too. I'm personally not complaining about it. I'm just speaking what...
Okay, let me ask instead a question tied to that. Like, does it add the new weapons to compensate that or something?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I think I can see where people may be coming from. Again, me personally, I can get the whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality here thing. But I guess to some people it's like, well, okay, if you're gonna have similar enough gameplay here and there, then something does need to change or freshen up here. So you think, well, maybe that's something for the story to do. The story is not good. I'm not going to spoil how, but it's not good. And I get the feeling that because of the story not being good, that led to people realizing how, well, if the gameplay here, sure, the gameplay here is fine, but on that mentality here, I could go back and play Gears 3 or Gears 2, which has similar enough gameplay, but a better everything to it.
It's one of those. It's one of those things where, okay, we haven't gotten to that point yet. Actually, this is important here.
Do you even lift?
Sorry.
Don't worry. Those headaches are probably not important.
Oh, I thought he actually bruised their hand instead.
Right? Let's just find a silo.
For the record, you don't seem okay.
Yeah.
I'll live.
We'll see.
Maybe listen.
Shiroi. Kait. Actually, I'll still say it. Shiroi, Kait is not a minor. She's responsible for her own actions. If I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay, judging from the ending of the previous game and everything, I get the idea that Marcus should be more responsible than her. Well,
He really should, given everything that happened. Oh dear.
Well, actually, that actually is an interesting point that you bring up. I might as well bring it up while this is going. Basically, everybody, going back to the whole comic situation that we've discussed with this series ever since we did for the first game, there's more news I have to report. I think I've alluded this before, but now it's more appropriate than ever. In between Gears 4 and Gears 5, everybody, guess what happened? Okay, reminder, Shiroi, that JD, the guy we're playing as now, he's Marcus's son, biological son and everything, not even adopted. So, after Gears 4, where story-wise, even though we didn't buy it because the story was badly told, JD and his group proved themselves as capable Gears. So Shiroi, logically, and Marcus has to take a partner with him to do some important missions, involving, now that the Locusts are back, we need to do some the Gears are very required to do various stuff. Yes, the Swarm is back too.
No, I was saying, so that story that you were mentioning, that's supposed to be in between Gears 4 and 5?
Yes.
I thought I probably misunderstood because all the time you mentioned, I thought it was said before 4, and then Marcus knew about Kait beforehand.
No. Remember too, he meets Kait for the first time in 4. They even say it.
Then it makes a bit more sense, but continue.
He even asks her name in Gears 4 too, so yeah, clearly it's their first time meeting. No confusion there, I can assure you.
No, go on that. I'll explain then later what I thought.
Sure. So, Shiroi, question. Now that Marcus needs a partner to help him out on these new missions, because the Locusts are back, so obviously there's going to be a lot more need for Gears to do their stuff that they're good at. So Shiroi, who does Marcus bring on these important missions to him as his partner that he needs someone who he can trust, of course, someone that he knows well and all that stuff. So who does he get, Shiroi? A, his son JD. B, one of his older partners from the original trilogy, or C, Kait.
Kait?
Exactly. And before the record, Shiroi, if you think I'm nitpicking, no. Believe it or not, this very game will actually have a comment on that, and it will have impact in how the characters interact and everything. So this is an important thing for me to mention for this game's purpose, I assure you. Go ahead.
Let me guess, his son starts whinging about how he didn't pick him, and
it's complicated.
Hold on, what you wanted to say, Shiroi, actually?
Well, actually, though, there's a cutscene now, so...
Okay.
Split up. Fair enough.
Alright, go ahead, Shiroi.
Well, I obviously don't know yet because we haven't gotten to there yet. But is it more of a case of considering all the crap that he's put up with? Did he really want to bring on people that close to him? Like, where are we going with this?
I instead have another theory, but go on, Pedro.
It will make more apparent, Shiroi, when JD makes a comment about that comic storyline. What I mean. But let's just say, Shiroi, it is a bit weird that I personally find it very weird that Marcus decides to take Kait under his wing instead of, his freaking son. Just saying. Okay. Especially because Marcus is a guy who values. Marcus is a guy who values his family and friends most of all. That's literally the most important thing in his life. Literally.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I get the idea Marcus wants to keep an eye very close to Kait because of her status that essentially is a type bomb.
That's the thing too. He doesn't know that yet too. Remember, Kait never told anyone.
But he was in the collective thing when he was imprisoned.
No, he was. No. Don't get my point too. My point is that he doesn't know that she's the granddaughter of Myrna yet. That's the thing. Remember, Kait hasn't told them yet, and she's gonna reveal it to all of them later in this game.
I get the idea that 4 all hinted on that front, because the moment he gets really mentioned that he was in a collective mind state, and for all the duration he keeps saying that it's not a good idea to go save her mother, and by the end, when she does, it's a thing that the fact that Kait gets to know the truth, and Marcus clearly is a "I told you so" kind of expression. So I get the feeling that he knew. He got to know that information, and of course, obviously, didn't know how to react.
No, I'm sorry, Teo, but I'm afraid you've misread the whole situation. The reason Marcus was very hesitant about saving her mom was because of danger involving what happened. Not because of her allegiance not because of her family's allegiance to the Locust Queen. Basically, Teo, what happens is when we see that little final scene where we see the Locust emblem on her necklace, that's just for us. Later in this game, Teo, she's the one that's just going to tell everybody about how this was my grandmother's thing and it has the Locust symbol on it. So it's in this very game, Teo, and Marcus is even learning it in that very scene that we get in Act 2. So no, it is I'm sorry, Teo, but yeah, it's in this game that Marcus learns about it, not before.
And in case you have any doubts, Teo, he will show surprise at that too.
Oh no, well, obviously, but it's one of those things too.
No. Oh, okay. My point is, like, if anyone thinks that, Marcus, no, he shows surprise when she does reveal that.
Sure. It hasn't anything to do with that, Teo. That's the thing. My problem with it is that he... Okay, I haven't read the comic. Maybe the comic explains things better. I don't know. You know.
I'll say this though. If it turns out that he knew in the comics, then that really contradicts what Gears 5 suggests then.
Yeah, I'm just basing it off on the games, you know, like, and if the comics contradict the games, that's kind of bad franchise management. That should not be a thing.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a thing.
Pretty much.
Well, what is the canon status of the comics? Because that matters.
All
of them are canon. There's only one.
Legit.
Yeah. There's only one timeline. There's only one. It's not like with the Yokai Watch comics, where the Yokai Watch comics have their own canon going on. No. The comics are all taking place before or in between games. Sure, they're literally all part of the same canon and timeline. So there's no catch about any of that. Go ahead, Jova.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a mechanic of being able to mark enemies. By holding down the right trigger, you can essentially, mark enemies so that you have an idea of which ones you want to go for here and there. Trust me, there are some details that may get lost in the frenzy of things, so it is good to keep an eye on, say, a certain enemy or something.
Yeah, this game...
strategize here or there.
Yeah, this game adds a bit more to the stealth mechanics. It's still not nowhere near enough, if you ask me. There's no tall grass for you to hide in or anything, so you can strategize a good way for how you can tackle. There's still, as far as maybe there's just something that I'm missing, but as far as the game tells me with its tutorials, I still have no idea how that, if it's even possible to go through an entire area without being detected, because unlike with other games that have stealth mechanics that I've played, this game doesn't really, all that this game really has is the silent takedown from behind, and that's it. There's no areas with tall grass that you can hide in. There's only these crates that you can, cover behind. And as a result, I don't really understand how... It's not like in Horizon Zero Dawn or other stuff where there's plenty of methods I can use to stealth my way through. The only real thing this game has is the stealth takedown, really. I don't really understand how... Well, okay, I understand that this is not a stealth game. I get that. But at the same time, if you're going to introduce stealth elements, go all the way. Do something akin to what Uncharted 4 did, where you have a very flexible gameplay system where you can just keep shooting your way through if you want, or if you want, you can take a stealthier approach. That would have been a cool thing to do for this game, I will argue. However, the stealth mechanics in this game, just like in 4, are still very, very undercooked.
It's a dude bro shooter trying to have stealth elements like that.
Well, technically,
okay.
I think that could have worked.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but you can definitely tell where the main priorities lied still.
I mean, for someone like Dwebs, it's fine because Dwebs prefers it this way anyway. It's just that I don't know. Like if you're gonna put some stealth elements in here, actually flesh them out a bit better than this.
I agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like shooting my way through things as well. It's not like... It's just that, it feels like, okay, you put this stealth element here, but you didn't really commit to it, and it's just kind of there, and it's not really all that useful.
I wonder if they were planning to flesh it out later in patches.
Well, the last time I played was actually in recent months with Dwebs, where we played the new DLC campaign. We'll also do that in this playthrough as well, by the way. And no, Jova, no real major changes to the gunplay / stealth mechanics have been made from what me and Dwebs could see.
So about spoiling, Pedro, would you say that the nearly over a year wait for the DLC was worth it?
Not really. It's basically on par with the Gears of War 3 DLC. It's just kind of there, and it's whatever.
So it doesn't even continue the story.
From what I can tell, Jova, it takes a comic book storyline and abridges it into basically a 2-hour DLC that doesn't really have enough time to brief and flesh out the characters. As a result, character development has to be rushed. But again, I haven't read the comic, so I can't. But that's... I have no evidence to prove what I'm saying because I haven't read the comic, but that's what my instincts are telling me. That's all I'll say.
Alright, now let's talk about the gore in this game. The gore in this game is interesting. Okay, now, to give it credit, it's more graphic than that of Gears 4. However, it doesn't have the level of detail that Gears 1 for free had. What do I mean? Well, as you just saw, enemies just kind of fall apart in chunks when you saw into them, like they're jigsaw puzzle pieces. Oh yeah, there's gore technically, but it doesn't feel as well detailed.
Well, remember, Jova, we already gone through this. According to the Coalition, they can't add the older gore from the original trilogy because that would take too many resources, and there's no. And according to them, it's not really something that's. It doesn't affect the game in any meaningful way to them.
To them? Notice how they didn't mention to the player.
Well, okay. Keep in mind, this is me paraphrasing. They didn't actually use those words, I don't think, to be fair. I'm just I'm paraphrasing. I don't actually have their statement right here in front of me, so I can't do an exact quote, sorry.
Like I said before, the gore is by no means the biggest selling point of Gears. It is a notable one, but still, though, and look,
if this was Saw of War or something.
But yeah, okay, and look, I'm not going to say that the game lives or dies by it, but like I said before, it is the details that tend to pile up, and when a lot of the details have these problems, congrats, you've got something that snowballed into an issue here. It's a typical case cycle where, hey, if the other elements of the game were good enough, we wouldn't complain as much about this, but because there's not as much enjoyable stuff in that sector, then we are forced to look in other avenues for enjoyment, and then we just notice the problems. So, what are your thoughts on the monster design in this game, Pedro?
Well, the monster design, again, we're still fighting the Swarm, so a lot of the monsters from Gears 4 return for this one, like this one, for example. So
this looks a bit different, though, from the...
Yeah. This one has a thing where it can sort of release.
It's
weird
similar to what the
waves
final
of
boss of the Gears 4 did.
well, yeah. This so basically they took this monster and gave him a new trick, basically. I guess you can put it that way.
That is kind of neat.
Actually, who was the composer? I forgot if
Ramen Drawdid, the same guy from Gears 4.
Okay.
Again, it's one of those things where, see, this is another problem. Well, might as well bring that up as well. Yeah, just like with Gears 4, I find the score in this game to be utterly unremarkable, and I don't remember a single cue from it, which is a far cry from Gears of War 2's score, which is my favorite still.
Also, where are the DBs? I guess in this time they help you.
Yeah, the DBs.
Yes.
Well, now we're actually working for the Coalition too. And no, I'm not talking about the developer. I'm talking about the coalition of ordered governments.
Obviously. Well, okay, it makes sense. You know, the Locust have technically returned, so of course the humanity has to reunite again.
It is kind of a shame that the whole reunion thing kind of happened off-screen games.
Honestly,
that's what the comics are for, I'm guessing.
I don't know if it actually still happens in this game, but we'll rather take that over having another entire game bitching about President Glassface.
Trust me, I agree with that too. It's just like, well, okay, like me and Pedro mentioned, this prologue story-wise doesn't really matter that much. So it's like, hey,
it serves to establish a specific conflict between two specific characters that I will not mention yet, but that's about it.
Yeah, like, let me put it like this. That establishment could have easily been summed up in a cutscene overall here and there. And I'm just saying this. With all the time wasted here, we could have spent it on, probably stuff that could have helped the plot better here. I'm not saying that this is some travesty that didn't deserve to be in. What I'm saying is, like, well, priorities may have been a little messed up with this prologue. And that's not really a good sign for the rest of the plot.
This game was also, once again, written by the, I'm sure he's a nice guy, gent, Tom Bissell, who gave us the wonderful scripts of Gears of War Judgment and Gears of War 4. And the usual problems of his writing in this series apply. The dialogue is not really all that witty. The jokes aren't really all that funny, and the characters and his penchant for character interactions is not exactly. He's trying to be witty. Yes.
Maybe judging by his work on stuff like the Disaster Artist book, maybe they'd been better writing a Gears of War autobiography or something. Biography, I mean.
As for the reunion, Jova, I'm guessing it probably showed up in the comics themselves or something like that, considering there is literally a comic book line, as was just established, that takes place in between games, hopefully. But just to finish my point, that's the thing. I'm still... Okay, again, like I said, maybe the comic explains things better. Maybe. I will concede that. But from the perspective of the games that I've played and for the original trilogy, it really, I get, and yes, I get. We established in Gears 4 that the relationship between JD and Marcus is not exactly super duper peachy. I get that, but at the same time, I still think that's still a bit of a stretch from him literally taking this complete stranger that he's only met recently, and this is the one he takes on this important mission instead of his son that I'm sure Marcus still loves, because that's Marcus that we're talking about. But then again, this is the same Marcus that thought that we could save ourselves from a tornado by hiding in a wooden shed, so it's abundantly clear that Marcus is not all there in the head anymore. So
Age is one hell of a drug.
I guess. See everybody for the next part.
See ya.